Nothing says you care like crypto.
I got my first boyfriend at the age of 22.
I've never had the comfort of someone's arms around me.
Men going their own way is destroying the lives of women. Women are coming onto social media complaining that men no longer want to date them. Men are no longer approaching them. They don't know what to do. Today's video comes from Christina Aaliyah, and her channel will be linked in the description so that you can go and check her out. Watch to the end of the video to fully understand the implications of so many men now choosing to go their own way and what that means for women going forward into the future. Don't forget to support us on Rumble, because you never really can know what can happen on this platform. It's linked in the description of this video. And now let's just go ahead and jump right into the video.
I got my first boyfriend at the age of 22.
I've never had the comfort of someone's arms around me.
As someone who's never been in a long-term serious relationship, I feel like I am constantly in a state where I never feel good enough.
When you're the only person out of everyone you know who's never had a relationship, you start to ask yourself a lot of questions. Is there something wrong with me? Am I doing something wrong? Will I be single forever?
If you're still single, there must be something wrong with you.
When did it become normal to romantically talk to 7 people at the same time?
The more you think about it, the more reasons come up. It's because I'm too independent. I'm too focused on school. I'm too focused on work. My standards are too high. There's an endless list that you create for yourself. When everyone around you seems to have a relationship or relationships seem to come easy to them, your endless list of reasons why you're single just gets longer and longer. What if the problem isn't actually you? What if it's something much more minute instead? Hey, if you're new, I'm Christina and I make videos for people who are feeling lonely. If you're a people pleaser, overachiever, overthinker, over anythinger, then you're in the right place. You are an 18, 19, 20, 23, 25, maybe even 30-year-old who's never had a relationship. This will probably consume a lot of your mental capacity. Like, when you're surrounded by other people your age, who's on their second boyfriend, their third girlfriend, they're moving in with their partner, they're talking about starting a family, you can't help but think, is there something I'm doing wrong? You can't help but question certain things. Is there something I'm doing wrong? Is there something that I'm missing? Will I be single forever? Because you ask yourself all these questions, you start to come up with answers. And in your head, you start to think, oh, it's because I'm too independent. It's because I'm focused too much on school. It's because I'm focused too much on my work. It's because I'm too ambitious. I'm too intimidating. I'm too this, too that. Fill in the blank. Because you're coming up with all these sort of excuses as to why you've not found your person, why you're single, why something that comes so easily to everyone else is quite hard for you. This list in your head, you don't realize it at first, but it slowly starts to make you feel a little bit insecure. Like, oh, I'm going to be behind when I eventually do get in a relationship. There's going to be so many things that I don't know. I'm going to have no experience. I literally saw a TikTok the other day. I think it was like a clip from a YouTube video where they were asking, how long was your longest relationship?
What's y'all's longest relationship?
Never been in a relationship.
Oh, ouch. Okay.
It's the worst. So now we know, worst kisser, worse than bad.
These are the things we worry about. When you're that guy who's never had a relationship and you think, oh no, but I research, I read up on dating and relationships and communication, you watch TikToks and dating advice, it's not like you're completely inept on how to manage a relationship or how to communicate. But this sort of thing makes you panic in the back of your mind, because is that what people really think? I think a lot of people who are slightly older and have never been in a relationship, I feel like we have a fear of love, or a fear of closeness, maybe even fear of intimacy, you could say.
Have you ever been in love?
I've never been in love before. I've actually never been in a relationship. I think that as soon as someone starts liking me, I mentally can't accept it, so I kind of just run away. I just get a very strong physical ick if someone expresses that they're into me. I like them until they like me. Yeah.
Do you think there's a bit of fear around closeness with someone?
I think so. I think maybe I just get freaked out with the concept of attachment to someone. I grew up in Norway with my mom, and my dad lived in France. They actually were never married, but they were never together. So I don't know, maybe I've had a weird perspective on the idea of family.
She gets the ick when someone likes her. She likes them up until they like her back. I don't want to hyperfixate on the words that she's used, like ick and freaked out, because what she's describing, I think a lot of other people will also experience, but they won't use the word ick. I can relate to some of what she's describing. I don't get the ick if someone likes me, but I panic. Like, it's literally like, honestly,
So, guys, this holiday season, Angry's Crypto Academy is running a Christmas promo to help you start 2025 strong. From now until December 31st, you can get 20% off annual paid subscriber plans. And the bootcamp membership is also 20% off. If you've been waiting to level up your crypto game, now's the perfect time to invest in yourself. Click the link in the description below, grab your membership, and let's make 2025 your best year yet. Merry Christmas, and I'll see you inside the Academy. If there's one thing that I think it's very easy for us to all notice right away, is the victim mindset and the victim mentality from a lot of these young women. Oh, it's not my fault why I cannot be in a stable relationship. It's society's fault. It's men's fault. It's the fault of everyone around us, or maybe it's really no one's fault at all. When you have something where a woman says something like, okay, I've had like 17, it's norm. When did it become normal to have 17 relationships all at once? 17 romantic relationships all at once. Whose fault is that? The average man is lucky if he can have one relationship at a time. And then you have women who are like, when did it become normal to have 17 romantic relationships at once? That's not normal. What women have done is we can see the world is so accommodating for women. The world is so easy for women that women can pick and choose. They have too many choices. And this is the reason why there's no such thing as monogamy in a relationship with a modern woman, if there was ever really monogamy to begin with. Because she was never really yours. It was just your turn to be with her. And when I say your turn, it's all happening simultaneously. It's crazy. Guys, when you talk about, like, I'm just gonna kind of relate computers in here, and of course, there are people who know more than I do, there are people who know less than I do, but when you're dealing with memory in a computer, you could actually basically theoretically, if you put 2 sticks of memory into a computer versus 1 stick of memory, you can theoretically get double the speed. It's not perfect, but it can basically process the memory at the same exact time. So 2 sticks of 16 will actually be faster than 1 stick of 32. All right? So it's basically like you're getting twice the resources in a way. It's not a perfect analogy. But what these women are doing here is they're basically trying to have their cake and eat it too, where they have multiple instances running, where they have multiple threads operating, and they're just trying to, they're trying to get everything themselves. They want everything for themselves. They want this guy's resources and this guy's resources and this guy's resources and this guy's attention and this guy's attention and this guy's attention. The reality is that it's never going to be enough for them. And there are also consequences when you take this approach, just like within a computer. Okay? Because the more things you have going on in there, the more things you have piled in there, the more cores in the GPU, the more threads that it can handle, the more chiplets, all of this stuff, the more heat. All right? The greater the TDP. And as a result, you're going to need to cool that bad boy off. So it's going to tax other areas of the build. And that's kind of what's happening with modern women right now. They don't realize that they are wearing themselves out. Just like you can wear out a GPU, just like you could wear out a CPU, you can wear out your body, you can wear out your mind. And women are wearing out themselves. They're wearing out their lives. They want it all. But they don't understand that there is a price to pay for everything that they are doing right now. Okay? Let me ask you something. When the banks collapse, and trust me, it's coming, will you be ready? Imagine waking up to ATMs that don't work, bank doors chained shut, and millions of people left with nothing. No cash, no access to their savings, and no way to survive. But it doesn't have to be that way for you. That's why I created Angry's Crypto Academy to teach you everything you need to know about crypto so you can protect yourself and your family. You'll learn how to buy, sell, and even day trade crypto for a living. Plus, we alert you to new crypto trends so you can profit before everyone else even knows what's happening. Right now, I've just published an exclusive investment guide inside the Academy, and it's linked in the description below. In it, I reveal the one coin that could make you a millionaire. A coin so revolutionary, it could change everything. If you missed out on Bitcoin and Ethereum, this is your second chance. This isn't just about financial freedom. It's about survival. When the system collapses and everyone else is selling, you'll be the one buying, prepared to weather the storm and thrive while others struggle to survive. Don't wait. This knowledge isn't optional, it's critical. The link's in the description. Go check it out now.
Fight or flight situation where I'm like genuinely scared. What I found interesting was in the comments, a lot of people were talking about an avoidant attachment style. There is an amazing book which does a deep dive on all the attachment styles. I'd highly recommend it actually, especially if you're someone who's never had a relationship or someone who has like unhealthy, maybe toxic relationships. It's called Attached. I'll link it down below. This book, like, it's one of the books you'll read and like you get a whole new perspective on yourself. Like you learn about you. You're reading the book and you're like, oh my God, this guy is describing me. That was what happened when I opened the book and read the avoidant attachment chapters. When you're an avoidant attached person, they are the stereotypical, hyper independent, focused on their jobs, focused on work, climbing the corporate ladder. I don't need friends. I don't need relationships. I don't want to be distracted. I just want to focus on like my work. I have a feeling if you're slightly older, not been in relationships, my guess is that you'd probably lean more avoidant because as time goes on in your life and you're a bit more grown up now, you've graduated, you've got a job, you're focusing on yourself, maybe you've got your own place, you're like working on yourself and you're preoccupied with all the amazing things you've got going on in your life that you probably see relationships and especially dating, because dating and going on first dates and then relationships are quite different. Like I'd actually consider myself quite a good dater because I've been on so many, like I've been speed dating so many times with like I've done it on my own and then I've done it with friends because it's always funny with friends. But then like in actual relationships where it's long term, I'm just with one person, I have to get really close and open up and be honest, which normally makes me panic. Like that I have no experience with. And I have a feeling for me, it's because of my avoidant attachment style and because just closeness is a bit scary. Like it doesn't feel safe in my mind. Maybe that's why I always panic. It just feels like something I should like worry about and like this isn't safe. Something else you probably do if you're someone who's never been in a relationship, you probably hyperfixate on your flaws. When you ask yourself certain questions. Why am I still single? Why has no one asked me out? Why does no one ever look at me like how they look at her? Why does no one ever compliment me? Why do I never get comments on my Instagram pictures that say like, oh, stunning or beautiful, gorgeous? Why is it only ever people that I don't like that approach me? Why is it the people that I'm not interested in that ask me out? When you ask yourself these questions, you start to create a list. I'm going to call it like the endless list. It's like an endless list of reasons, excuses as to what's wrong with you. I have never had a boyfriend. I've never I've never experienced love and I've never done anything romantic at all, and I feel behind. Most of the people I know have had some experience and I've had nothing. I fear I don't even know what to do if I was in a relationship. I feel like this was me for a really long time. Like, I feel so experienced. I've not done anything romantic. I wouldn't know what to do. It's weird because you have this endless list of reasons why you've not had a relationship, and the list gets longer and longer, and you kind of flesh out this list. You really believe the list. And what I've noticed is if you ask yourself certain questions, your brain will just come up with answers. For example, if I said, oh yeah, think about, like right now, have a think about why global warming is at an all-time high. You can probably tell me like, not enough recycling, too much landfill, not enough electric cars. There's still so many like petrol cars, gas cars, diesel. You'd be able to come up with like a million answers. And then if I told you, oh yeah, sit on that question for the next few months, for the next few years, you'd probably come up with more and more answers as to why climate change is so bad. You'd come up with you'd probably start to research it. You'd ask yourself questions. You'd probably start to look on TikTok as well, because you're going to like ruminate on it. Just like how you can think and ruminate on climate change and why climate change is so bad. You probably unconsciously chosen to ruminate on why you're still single. And that's why you have such like insecurity about it, or so many questions, because that's your question of choice to ruminate on. And what I like to say is like, if you ask a bad question, you're going to get bad answers. But if you ask a good question, you'd get good answers. I feel like a more empowering question, or a more like confidence boosting question to ask yourself is like, why am I such a good person? Why would I be a great person to go out with? Why would I be a good partner? Why would someone be lucky to be with me? It sounds cringe. Like, even as I'm saying it, I'm like, that sounds like proper weird. Like, I hope no one downstairs can hear me. But like, if you sit and ruminate on all the negative parts of you, or all the parts of you that are too much because you're too hardworking, too independent, too intimidating, if you ruminate on that too much, you're going to believe it, and it's going to become valid in your mind. It's going to be so valid that you're like, oh yeah, this is the reason why I'm single. Like, you're going to lead with that. Versus if you lead with like a more empowering question, why am I a great person? Why would someone be lucky to be with me? And you ruminate on that, you're going to then lead with a more positive aspect. Another common thing that I've noticed that we maybe all have, those of us that have never had a long-term relationship, is that sometimes we think being single is better than settling. For example, give this video a thumbs up if you've ever thought like, oh, there's no one around me that I know that's like quite on my level. Like, no one's quite good enough. No one meets my standard. I'm too intimidating for everyone. Like, I just don't think anyone would like handle me. I do believe being single is better than settling. However, I think that
they're destroying themselves. They're destroying their units. They're destroying their minds, their CPUs. Okay? All because they cannot maintain a stable relationship. All because they continually want more from the relationship. All because they have so many options, they can't choose just one. That's what's happening with modern women right now. You know? And you have to understand, we are like machines in a way. We are biological machines, but we are not made of silicone. And we can't just, replace a part once it's gone. We can't replace our brains once it's gone. We can't heal from the trauma once it's gone. Okay? I'm just being honest. Women did not think ahead, and they put themselves in this situation. They're responsible for a lot of this despair that they are now facing. While men have been living in states of despair for a long time, this is a relatively new thing for a woman, but they're going to have to face accountability for this. And that's something that women don't like. Women do not like the notion of accountability. They don't like the idea that, hey, you're going to be held accountable for what you've done and for the choices that you've now made. Because they believe that men exist to serve them, but then at the same time, they don't like us. Okay? If someone who likes you does not treat you this way, does not treat you so poorly, another big notion and something that men have to wake up to is that as a man, you should never approach a woman. You should never walk up to a woman and just start saying, hey, I think you're beautiful, or blah, 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 or, or start looking for an opener to chat her up. It's stupid. It's nonsense. There is no special girl out there. There's no one girl who's going to make your life optimal. There is no soulmate out there. I'm sorry to tell you that. There is no soulmate. It is a chemical reaction, okay? Our brains are lying to us. I've been there. I've had the whole soulmate experience. What I didn't really comprehend is just how stupid I was. I didn't realize that it truly is the lizard brain. You might think that it's a spiritual experience, guys. It is a chemical reaction. Okay. It is our brain scanning for patterns and observing patterns and then saying, oh my gosh, this is the person who very much aligns with the things that I would want in another individual. This must be my soulmate. And as a result of that, you start looking past all the things that do not align and only looking at the things that do. Guys, if you think you've missed the boat on Bitcoin, think again. The crypto world is exploding with new opportunities. And while Bitcoin has already made its millionaires, there's still a chance for you to get in early on the next big wave. I've put together an exclusive guide on 4 altcoins that could change the game and change your financial future. These aren't just hype coins. These are real projects with groundbreaking technology and massive upside potential. This is your chance to get in before they hit the mainstream. But listen, crypto isn't just about getting rich, it's about freedom. Freedom from traditional banks, freedom from government-controlled money, and freedom to take back control of your life. That's why I created Angry's Crypto Academy. When you join the academy, you'll learn everything you need to know about cryptocurrency, how to buy, sell, and trade the right way, how to spot the coins that can truly take off, and how to use crypto to achieve real economic freedom. And here's the best part. When you subscribe, you'll get a free copy of my crypto blueprint. This is packed with valuable tips and strategies to help you get started, and it's yours just for joining. The link is in the description below. Don't wait around and miss another opportunity like Bitcoin. Those who act now will be the ones who win big. So if you're ready to take back control of your finances and start your journey to freedom, join Angry's Crypto Academy today. Let's make it happen.
Have like really disproportionate fear of settling. I think settling to different people means different things. To me, I've learned after reading an incredible book called How to Not Die Alone by Logan Ury. In her book, she really taught me that settling isn't like going out with a person like way below your level of standard and they're unemployed, they're in terrible health, they don't look after themselves, they've got terrible hygiene. Settling, from what she described in the book and like what I now see settling as, is like you find someone who is really amazing, like they actually really inspire you, they're a lovely person, they're so funny. There's a few areas where you're not 100% compatible and your instinct might be like, oh, well, it's not going to work because they have different beliefs around private education versus public education. Maybe they have different political beliefs. When there's like a minor incompatibility, I now see that as like, this could be an area where you can actually communicate and work on things rather than just completely abandon this person, abandon this relationship. But I've noticed for sure we're hyper selective now. And I feel like the list of things that qualifies as a red flag is just getting lower and lower. Like a red flag used to be you show up to the date late, you're rude to the waitress, you speak about women on the date in a derogatory way. It almost used to be like red flags reflect your values and things that are like non-negotiable. But now I feel like red flags are almost becoming a bit gimmicky and like anything can be a red flag. Wearing the wrong outfit could be a red flag. Having like dirty trainers could be a red flag. I've realized you have to kind of differentiate kind of a red flag and a non-negotiable from just like a flaw that someone has. Because we all have flaws, but we never sit and think about what are the flaws that I'd happily accept that my partner has and what are some of the red flags that I just will not put up with. And this is how I now see settling. Like I know my partner will have flaws because I have flaws, but I now have to think, okay, these are the flaws I'm happy to settle for. Like I'm happy to settle for maybe dirty trainers, because who doesn't have dirty trainers? In the UK, it is literally raining outside. Or a flaw I'm completely happy to accept is not having a work-life balance because I don't have a work-life balance. Completely okay with my partner having flaws, and they could be the flaws that I have, they could be different flaws. I just accept and I'm happy to settle for flaws. Any red flag is a future argument, is how I see it. Like a red flag for me, something that could be a future argument is like someone expecting me to like be more chilled and to work less. Like that, like we'd have an argument over that because that's just like my value. One of my values is just like to fulfill my purpose. Like I find purpose and joy in working a lot. I really do. I have a healthier balance with it now. But if someone told me like, you need to rest more, you're always too busy, you're working too much, have your weekend off, like we would have beef. Videos online will tell you to like script and manifest your perfect partner and write a list of all the things that you want them to have. But I think equally, just so your expectations are realistic, it's helpful to write a list of all the flaws that you're okay with them having. That being said, I don't want you guys, especially if I know some of you guys are slightly younger, do not put relationships on a pedestal. Relationships are not a prize. And the reason why is because not all relationships are created equal. Like you might look at some.
So guys, this holiday season, Angry's Crypto Academy is running a Christmas promo to help you start 2025 strong. From now until December 31st, you can get 20% off annual paid subscriber plans. And the bootcamp membership is also 20% off. If you've been waiting to level up your crypto game, now's the perfect time to invest in yourself. Click the link in the description below, grab your membership, and let's make 2025 your best year yet. Merry Christmas, and I'll see you inside the Academy. See, guys, I like LL Cool J. I really like LL Cool J. I think he's a pretty decent dude. Sweet guy. But he's a little bit of a simp, too. Tell you why. Because LL, he started that stuff off back in the early 90s. Before all these idiots started doing this garbage in the 2000s, LL was doing this garbage in the 90s, singing stuff like, you know, it's whatever you like. I'll give you whatever you want. I'll make you happy. I'll make you comfortable. He is a large part of the modern day simp culture. He brought about a lot of that garbage. All right. And it was like he tried to do it like it was sweet, like, girl, I'm gonna put a necklace on you, girl, I'm gonna put a diamond ring on you. Why? Why are you putting a necklace or a diamond ring on someone you don't even know like that? What has she done to deserve that? What? Why? Because she might be physically intimate with you? What kind of stupidity is that? You know, guys, something that is not supposed to happen in a relationship is that a woman is never supposed to use physical intimacy as a means of bartering in a relationship. If you are married to a woman, or if she is simply your girlfriend, it does not matter if she is your wife or if she is your girlfriend or your committed partner. Because some people are in committed relationships where it's not a wife, but they may have children together or live together, or whatever. What I'm trying to make is, if you're in a relationship with someone, physical intimacy should never be used as a bargaining chip. And that's the only bargaining chip that most modern women have today, because they cannot cook, they cannot clean. I want y'all to think about Kaya. You know, I talked about her in another video, cooking with Kaya. You know, she's a little baddie.
Girl, I could steal your man with this dinner I just cooked, bro. Take a good look. Welcome to another video with Cooking with Kaya. Cooking with Kaya. Cooking with Kaya.
What men really want is a woman who is fit, feminine, and friendly. And I will say, I'll keep on repeating it and screaming it from the rooftops. Kaya knows what the hell she's doing. She's like trying to say sometimes like, oh, she's just trying to tell women to like step their game up, you know, and, you know, inspire them to do better. No, she is flexing on these modern women. That's why they were all freaking out over her. If she was just on Instagram, just on TikTok, showing off her body, you know, dancing around, dressed, you know, stuff like that, they would not care. But the fact that she is cooking in the kitchen, she is preparing food, and then you can see the love in the food that she prepares for these men. It says something. It says, one, she likes men. Modern women do not like men. Okay, this woman knows how to cook, and she knows how to cook with love. And that's what a lot of women fear. They fear the fact that men are realizing that these women don't love them and they have nothing to actually offer them other than physical intimacy, which is useless. It is so hard for most women to hear it now that, sweetie, you don't have anything to offer a man. You have nothing to offer a man. If you're offering physical intimacy, that's gross because that's basically lowering your value down to say that the only value you have is physical intimacy, is a reproductive organ. That is gross. For like men are beginning to wake up and realize, like, what's her name, like Lily something or the other, this Only Fools model who went and was physically intimate with something like 100 men, and then she's crying and evidently she contracted stuff and it was like bad, and she's still like pushing to go and be with 1,000 men. I don't know if she's going to go through with it, and doctors warned her not to do this. All right, she was literally being told, do not do this. She went and did it. Now she's crying all over social media because of the mental damages inflicted upon her. And evidently she came from a very wealthy family, well-off English family, and she still went out there and she still did this. It's like, bro, this is insane. Like, I don't know if you ever saw Chris Rock's comedy special where he talked about his daughter, his oldest daughter, and I believe it's his oldest daughter. And, she was basically raised like a rich little white girl. And she went to like a very expensive private school. And then evidently, like on her senior trip or something like that, she decided to go and sneak out with her little friends, and they went and got like drunk. Like they went on some kind of trip, and she went and got drunk with them. And she was basically suspended. Her and her friends were suspended. And she's like, Chris said that he didn't want his daughter out there in the street, so he gave her the best possible life ever, which is what Gen Xers did. Gen Xers live such hard and dangerous lives. They didn't want their kids growing up the way that they grew up. Let me ask you something. When the banks collapse, and trust me, it's coming, will you be ready? Imagine waking up to ATMs that don't work, bank doors chained shut, and millions of people left with nothing. No cash, no access to their savings, and no way to survive. But it doesn't have to be that way for you. That's why I created Angry's Crypto Academy, to teach you everything you need to know about crypto so you can protect yourself and your family. You'll learn how to buy, sell, and even day trade crypto for a living. Plus, we alert you to new crypto trends so you can profit before everyone else even knows what's happening. Right now, I've just published an exclusive investment guide inside the Academy, and it's linked in the description below. In it, I reveal the one coin that could make you a millionaire. A coin so revolutionary, it could change everything. If you missed out on Bitcoin and Ethereum, this is your second chance. This isn't just about financial freedom. It's about survival. When the system collapses and everyone else is selling, you'll be the one buying, prepared to weather the storm and thrive while others struggle to survive. Don't wait. This knowledge isn't optional, it's critical. The link's in the description. Go check it out now. They didn't want their kids being exposed to the things that they were exposed to. And this is why Gen Z ended up becoming so entitled and so soft. And, when she was suspended from school for like getting drunk on the trip with her friends, all her friends got suspended. She's at home and she's like, Daddy, chill. We've got money. Everything will be just fine. And at that point, Chris realized he had to do something, because if he did not do something and she did not learn consequences, she was going to end up on Only Fools. Lawrence Fishburne, I think that's how you pronounce it, the guy who played Morpheus in the first Matrix movies. This dude, his daughter went and actually was on OnlyFools. She became an OnlyFools model, and didn't really make a lot of money, but she was on there. And that was obviously done as a strike back at her father. She was like, she wanted daddy to see. She wanted daddy to see how big of his little girl had grown up. She wanted daddy to see how she had grown up. All right. And that's what would have happened with Chris. His daughter would be on OnlyFools. He literally said OnlyFools. And because she's not doing that for the boy. She wants dad. That's for daddy. She wants daddy to see that his little girl has grown up. So he went to the school and he begged the school to punish her, to expel her so that she would learn consequences. And she was the first one expelled. She was the first one expelled. Like all these parents that went and got lawyers. The school expelled her and expelled all the other little girls, but she was the first one expelled so that she would learn consequences. And she ended up getting into like culinary school eventually, but it didn't matter. But she still ended up having to write like a letter and explain why she got expelled, and it taught her consequences, which is something that most modern women don't know anything about.
Relationships and be like, oh wow, their relationship's perfect. I see comments like that on TikToks, like, wow, goals, I wish this was me, I wish a boy would treat me this way. A relationship is not a prize. Please bear in mind, any relationship that you go into, you are bringing yourself with it. Like your life, your tone of voice, your thinking, they all come into the relationship with you. You cannot leave yourself behind. If there's a certain part of you that feels like you're always self-sabotaging and you ruin things before they can get good, you always shut down things that are going well, bear in mind, if you had your goals relationship, goals boyfriend, goals girlfriend, you are bringing yourself with it. Like sometimes the dream relationship is not the prize at all, because if it got handed to you right now, you actually wouldn't have the secure attachment, the open communication, the healthy boundaries, the ability to handle flaws and understand the difference between flaws and red flags. You wouldn't be able to handle it, and it wouldn't work out. The real prize, in my view, is not the relationship. The real prize is the person that you become in the process of trying to get a relationship. Everyone has a desire for a relationship. I know it's a bit embarrassing to admit that, like, oh, I want a relationship, I want a boyfriend. As a human, it's literally in our DNA. Like, even if you don't want to admit it and you don't want to be like embarrassing and be like, oh, I do want a boyfriend. Like, we all at our core do want love and companion around us, whether that's partner, family, friends. But I really don't see a boyfriend as the prize. Like, I see me becoming a better version of myself that can communicate honestly. She is the prize. Like, that is the prize. Because she's the person that can handle the relationship well. She's the person that's not going to sabotage and self-sabotage and ruin it before it even gets anywhere. And on this note, not all relationships are created equal. Honestly, speaking to some people that I've known from like way, way back to high school, a lot of the things I hear are people complaining and like complaining about things. They're unhappy with their relationship. They're not happy with the treatment they're getting. They wish they could leave, but they stay because they're too scared to leave. Please don't think that everyone else is having a better time than you just because they're in a relationship, because that could not be further from the truth. There are people so uncomfortable being single that they would rather be in a terrible relationship than be on their own. If you're happy with your own company, you have something that so many people don't have, which is liking yourself. Like, you like your own time. So many people don't have that, and to fill that void, they have a terrible, not flaws, but they settle for red flags. So they're having constant argument. There are so many hardworking, ambitious, driven people that I feel like they don't realize they self-sabotage.
While I agree that many of these individuals are self-sabotaging, I think there's a greater thing to consider here, and it is the very notion that most modern women can no longer pair bond because they've had it's almost like an infinite amount of choice. It just never ends. They just keep on. They can choose. It's whatever you like. It's whatever you like, whenever you want it, how many times you want it. This is it, it's insane. If there's a saying like, give a woman enough time and she will, let her speak for long enough and she will tell on herself. And we're kind of seeing that reality now play out with modern women in Western society, where they basically are just putting their business out there. And it's like, it's insane. I remember like Brittany Reiner, was that Brittany Reiner or Grenner? This basically she was on Instagram and she's a social media chick, and she had been with a bunch of basketball players, and now she's like converted to Islam, and she's basically, she's been all over the place. This woman, she went on to a podcast, and her name is Brittany Renner. She went on to a podcast. She's been on many podcasts, and she's talked about like some of the stuff she's done, and it's like she told was it Sharp, Shannon Sharp, that she had been with like 30 or 35 guys, and Shannon was like, that's a lot of guys, and she was laughing. I'm thinking to myself, bro, this is a woman who wrote a book about all the dudes that she has been physically intimate with in Hollywood, like all the basketball players. Heck, she has a baby with a basketball player, NBA player. And she even talked about on social media where that she was with three dudes in the same week, and she ended up getting a yeast infection or yeast infection or something like that. And it's like I'm just thinking to myself, bro, this is Brittany Renner, who did all of this stuff, and she's telling you that she only has a body count of 30 something. And I know, like, guys, you guys are like angry only. That's for someone like that, that's a very low body count. That's a joke. And she was laughing because she couldn't. She basically pulled the wool. Guys, her body count is well over 300, probably minimum well over 100. But someone like her who's been doing this for years, since her 20s, like if you think about this very carefully, the number of hookups, like I mean, even 3 hookups with 3 different guys in a month, that's 36 guys within a year. Within 3 years, that's over 300. That's over 300 dudes. Not 300 out. That's over 100 dudes, right? And that's over the course of just 3 years. And so, I mean, she's been doing this for like a decade. So when you put that math together, like, we're really talking about over 300 guys right there. Really talking about over 300 guys. Probably more than that. Like I said, only 3 dudes, three different guys a month. She was doing like 3 different guys in a week. All right. So 3 different guys a month. That's how a lot of women roll. 3 different guys a month is nothing for the average woman. So when you start putting the math together, and they're doing this for a decade or a couple of decades, they end up with body counts in the hundreds, sometimes in the thousands. It's crazy. It's absolutely sick, guys. But this is the reality we live in, and that's why men going their own way is completely destroying their lives. Because now men going their own way are saying that we're going to avoid relationships, dating, and being in these toxic relationships with these individuals, focus on ourselves and our own happiness, and we're basically going to avoid relationships in society. And they have no recourse for this. 90% of men are no longer dating, getting married, or having children. You have a lot of younger women who are crying and saying that men don't approach us anymore. They don't talk to us anymore. They won't date us anymore. And yet you still have so many women who are pushing this narrative of independence and all this other garbage. Don't forget, guys, within a couple of months, evidently, they are going to evidently vote on the bill, which would require young women to have to register for the draft. And the notion is that, well, all of these women are just going to run out and get pregnant immediately. It's getting pregnant under Trump is not going to be so easy. Like, you go and you get pregnant, you're not going to be able to qualify, especially with Project 2025. You're not going to be able to qualify for all of these programs that women have been enjoying for so long. Like, they're probably going to reform programs like WIC, Women, Infant, and Children. Maybe they may have they'll provide formula and stuff like that. They're not going to make it easy anymore. All right. It's not going to be easy to access WIC like you used to. It's not going to be easy to access food stamps like you used to. It's not going to be able to get cash assistance like you used to, and SSI and all that stuff. These programs are going to begin to dry up. Rental assistance. Trump has basically said these people are going to be going. A lot of single mothers, I told you, a lot of single mothers are going to be in 10 cities. Okay. And I told you how they're going to get them in there. They're going to lie to them. They're going to tell them that, like, they just got evicted from this place, but it's okay. You're going to have the FEMA vans roll up, and they're like, oh, we're taking you to your new housing. And they're like, oh, okay, come on, kids, let's get out of here. We even like this place anyway. And that's really what's going to end up happening. And you're going to have like the FEMA van roll up, and they're going to take them and say, okay, let's let the kids get in. You want some water, kids? Like, they're going to fool them into this, get them into the van. The thing is that there's like bars. There's bars on the windows. Like, it's like a mesh where they, like, when the cops arrest you, like in New York, they, in New York City, they have those kinds of, I don't know if it's like if it's in California as well. I've been to California. I don't know if they have it in Cali, or I don't know if I've been all over the country, but I've seen it in New York where they have the inside of these vans that, they have like the bars and so forth, so they can lock you up in there, like when they take you into custody. And I'm feeling like that's really how it's going to be. It's like, the FEMA vans, they're going to be those kind of vans where they put you in there. It's like you're a prisoner and they're transporting you, and they're going to put these people in there. They're going to load them up with their kids, and they're going to tell them that they're taking them to their new housing, temporary housing, until they can get them new permanent housing. And the reality is that they're just going to pull up into pull up into the FEMA camp, tent city. And, once you go in, you don't come out. And that's really how it is. And once they're in there, they're going to be in there trying to ask, well, when can we leave, and blah, blah, blah. And they're just basically eventually going to figure it out that, hey, you're not going anywhere, bro. And then eventually they'll talk to like a social worker. And don't forget, Trump is cutting all of those people. So it's going to take them a couple of weeks or even a couple of months to talk to someone. And when they finally do, they're basically going to say something along the lines of, what will you be doing if we let you out of here? Like, what do you have any plans? Do you have any family that you can stay with? And they don't have anywhere to go. And it's like, you had all of this time, but you've been out here for like so long with these kids, and you don't have a plan. And they're going to tell them stuff like, okay, well, we're going to work with you and blah, 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 blah. But the reality is that they're not going anywhere. They're going to stay there busting Tent City. Once you go into Tent City, you don't come out of Tent City. And like I said plenty of times, Tyrone is the king of Tent City. When Tyrone is hungry, he's going to eat. When he is thirsty, he's going to drink. When Tyrone wants some loving, he's going to get some loving, all right? Because Tyrone is the king of Tent City. He's going to rule Tent City with an iron fist. What do you guys think regarding all of this? Men going their own way is destroying the lives of women. What the future for women really looks like is this. Half of all women come 2030 will be childless and single. And that's only the women between the ages of 25 and 44. When you factor in single mothers, you're looking at an older women. You're looking at roughly 70 to 90% of all women in Western society in the United States by itself being single. And it's going to be an absolute nightmare. So, especially with all the hardships coming, women all around the world, women in countries where, women in Western society were mocking and saying that these women can't speak English, these women are poor, that's why they're dating American men. They're going to look at American women in complete shock at the level of poverty and destitution these women are going to fall into. And they're going to ask, how did women in Western society fall into this extraordinary state of poverty and destitution? And then while this is happening, men are going to be getting wealthy. Of course, they're going to be idiots who always, mess around and find out. But because so many men are not getting married, not having children, that money that they would be using to subsidize the living of women, it's going to go away. And as more men are walking away from society, over 30 million men, this was going back like 2 or 3 years ago. Like 2 or 3 years ago, the actual numbers were over 30 million men. It was around 33 to 35 million at that point had dropped out of the workforce. Right now, I really think it's closer to 40 or 42 million men have dropped out of the workforce. Keep in mind, guys, the average man will leave a surplus on the economy over the course of his life. The average woman will leave a deficit. This basically means that men put more money into the economy than they take out. The average man will put more money into the economy than he takes out of the economy over the course of his life, while the average woman will take more money out of the economy than she will put into the economy over the course of her life. The reason why it's like that is because of all the programs that are designed for women, health care, and all of the aids and everything. The way women basically suck resources up in the economy. Men pay 80% of all taxes. Women make 80% of all consumer purchases. That should tell you everything you need to know. So with men walking away from society, from all of it, who's going to subsidize society anymore? It's not, guys. There's no money. There's absolutely no money. And all the cuts, all the spending, it's going to be hell on earth. And women don't realize what they've done. And then, of course, they're going to try to continue gaslighting men and acting like, they had no part of this. And I'm telling you guys, they've created this miserable reality for themselves, and they're going to basically have to deal with the consequences and the fallout of men walking away from dating, walking away from relationships, walking away and saying that we're good by ourselves. And especially with crypto, a lot of men are going to become extremely wealthy off crypto, despite the fact that there's some of you are talking crap about crypto. A lot of men are going to become stinking rich off crypto and all of that. And they're just going to live simple lives of luxury and comfort. So you're going to see men getting wealthier and wealthier because they don't have a family, they don't have children that they have to provide for, a wife they have to provide for, child support, any of that stuff, while women are going to be falling into deeper states of poverty. And the crazy thing about this is that even though, even though these men are not having children, women are still going to be having children with Chad and Tyrone, but the average man will no longer be subsidizing the living off these women anymore. So it's gonna basically be a Nightmare on Elm Street type of thing. And of course, men are now conditioned. They listen to guys like Uncle Angry. They listen to so many men who've shared their experiences. Guys like Legion. It's pretty much over. It's all out there. And women, of course, they think, they believe that men are born to serve them. And they're going to be lashing out when they're in pain and suffering and struggling and frustrated. They said that they wanted the bear, and now that they would choose the bear over the man, and now they're going to have to go and hang out with Yogi and Boo Boo and see how that works for them. And guys, you're going to find women living in the streets, living in the woods, living in their cars, living in shelters, and they're going to have to basically face that accountability, face those consequences, which is something women don't like and never wanted to fathom. Men going their own way is destroying the lives of women. And it's a result of the decisions that women have made for themselves. Let me know what you guys think, and we'll talk about it in the comments. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWA Men Walking Away. And cheers.